Chapter 393. Give some face. The Tuan secret realm is an ancient secret domain. No one knows how the realm came into being. Some speculate it might be related to ancient times. The secret realms are not limited to just the Tuan secret realm, there are other realms as well. However, the Tuan secret realm stands out as one of the domains for numerous martial sovereigns and those at the Golden Core level. Most importantly, it isn't under the control of one or a few powers. Instead, it adopts a relatively fair approach. Every 100 years, a fixed number of Tuan secret realm tokens are issued. By the time these are out, whoever obtains the Tuan secret realm token effectively gains the qualification to enter the realm. This system, admittedly, isn't entirely fair. The weak, even if they obtain a token, face dire consequences if word gets out. Many have met with tragic fates over the possession of these tokens. Around these tokens, countless plots, killings, and vendettas never seem to end. For instance, small sects that get hold of a token often get annihilated by larger powers. Yet, the token would still be taken away. The bearer would cultivate diligently, waiting for the right opportunity. Once the Tuan secret realm opens, they'd enter with the token, see their power surge, and on exiting, seek revenge against the major forces. Such stories are all too common. Currently, outside the Tuan secret realm, the place is packed. Many individuals and powers mingle together. From the martial king factions, the nascent soul lineages, to the martial sovereign groups and the golden core lineages, all are represented. Also, some individuals hide their identities, concealing their auras and blending in unnoticed. They likely possess the Tuan secret realm tokens and await the realm's opening. Most people here wouldn't dare start a fight given the mixed company. Acting out might upset someone, leading to trouble. However, some might still fish in troubled waters, targeting those with weaker abilities but possessing the Tuan secret realm token. As long as the realm remains closed, the weak will always be on edge. Swoosh! Suddenly, a streak of light shot from the distant horizon. Following closely, 12 figures appeared. 11 of them were martial sovereigns. Leading them, a figure radiated an aura as bright as the blazing sun. A martial king. Without a doubt, the leading figure is a martial king. Swoosh! For a moment, many eyes turned towards the 12 figures floating in the air. Lin Fei swept his gaze over the crowd below. Many were martial sovereigns and martial kings, and there were even many nascent soul and golden core cultivators. The Tuan secret realm opens once every 100 years, giving many ample time to prepare. Although the place was crowded with layers of people, the distinction was clear. The closer a force was to the Tuan secret realm, the stronger it was. Those on the outermost layer mostly did not even have a martial king or nascent soul. Lin Fei quickly assessed the situation. Leading the martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect, he made his way to the center of the crowd. However, the center was already packed tightly. It was not easy to make room for 11 people. Moreover, every force had claimed a certain area, and others would not easily step into their claimed territories. All forces were watching coldly from the sidelines. Ordinary people would not easily offend forces they were unfamiliar with. After all, these were forces with martial kings or nascent soul lineages. No one truly knew the depths of the others. However, Lin Fei had no intention of seizing any one spot. He glanced at the empty space in the middle and landed directly there, positioning himself in the center. Swoosh! Countless eyes focused on Lin Fei and the other martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect. Under so many gazes, the faces of the 11 martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect turned grim, feeling immense pressure. "Elder, I fear this spot is where the Tuan secret realm will open," one remarked. "Is it appropriate for us to dominate this spot?" No other force had claimed this particular spot, but they had done so upon arrival. What would the other forces think? "Pay it no mind," Lin Fei said calmly. "When the time comes and the realm opens, you can directly enter. If anyone is dissatisfied, they can come find me." He did not seek trouble with other forces, but that didn't mean others should provoke him. While Lin Fei and his group occupied the center, and many forces watched them closely, with many martial kings and nascent souls frowning, no one voiced their displeasure or tried to chase them away. Everyone remained silent. As long as their interests were not compromised, they all held the mindset of avoiding unnecessary trouble. After all, Lin Fei was a martial king. Who knew the extent of Lin Fei's abilities? Yet, in the crowd, there were indeed people who knew about Lin Fei's background. I know him. He's the supreme elder of the Ancient Origin sect, the Ancient Origin Saber King, Lin Fei. The ones with him are the martial sovereigns of the Ancient Origin sect. Ancient Origin sect. Never heard of it. Ancient Origin Saber King, such a domineering title. To be called a Saber King, he must be a master of the saber. But the Ancient Origin sect isn't well known. It must be a small sect. For a moment, many started discussing. Many feared the unknown. After all, if you don't know one's background, you'd better be wary. But now that the background of the Ancient Origin sect and Lin Fei were revealed, many hostile glances swept over Lin Fei and the Ancient Origin sect. Lin Fei paid them no mind. They were just looking, after all. Unless there were substantial actions against him, he wouldn't care. However, the one who revealed Lin Fei's identity couldn't be let off. Swoosh! Lin Fei's gaze immediately searched the crowd. Even the one who initially spoke, a golden core cultivator, felt his heart race, his face changing drastically. Clearly, he was locked onto by Lin Fei's gaze. Being targeted by a martial king made the golden core cultivator incredibly anxious. Ancestor, save me. Now the golden core true person realized the danger. Lin Fei stood up and with a single step, he appeared next to the golden core true person. He looked at him, not recognizing him. But it didn't matter. Whoever revealed his identity, especially under these circumstances, could bring a lot of trouble to both the Ancient Origin sect and Lin Fei. Lin Fei would not let him go. It seems you've realized the consequences of revealing my identity. Die. Lin Fei's eyes were icy cold. He flicked his finger. Whoosh! A strand of Tripoli true fire shot towards the golden core cultivator. Lin Fei didn't even need to invoke his true martial kin form to deal with a mere golden core cultivator. Seeing that cold strand of Senyin true fire, the golden core cultivator turned pale, shouting, "Help! Ancestor, save me, I was wrong." Sigh. Suddenly, a sigh came from the crowd. "Friend Lin, could you spare him for my sake?" An unfamiliar voice reached Lin Fei's ears. At the same time, a surge of spiritual power landed on the Tripoli true fire. Sizzle. The Tripoli true fire was overwhelmed by the spiritual and extinguished instantly. Chapter 394. True fire extinguishes the magic avatar. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He saw a Taoist. A nascent soul cultivator. Without a doubt, the person was a nascent soul cultivator. He appeared somewhat aged but exuded an aura of immortal elegance, dressed in a Taoist robe. The aura around him was elusive, making it hard to get a clear read. "Are you trying to stop me?" Lin Fei asked coldly. The nascent soul Taoist shook his head slightly and said, "This person is a disciple of my immortal sect. He unintentionally offended your sect and you. Please understand. I have a bottle of revival pills which are remarkably effective for martial sovereigns in healing physical injuries. As compensation for you and your sect, how about it?" The nascent soul Taoist immediately produced a bottle of elixirs. These were concocted by the nascent soul cultivator, making them extraordinary. Spiritual pills. Lin Fei's eyes grew colder. A mere bottle of elixirs. Lin Fei didn't care at all. He must die. You want to stop me? Fellow Taoist, he is my disciple. I cannot just watch you kill him. Lin Fei understood. Boom. In the next moment, Lin Fei invoked his true martial kin form. Supreme Saber Tao Bloodline. Lin Fei's martial kin form towered tens of thousands of feet, emitting an intimidating aura. The terrifying pressure of the martial king radiated in all directions. Those below the martial king realm felt their bodies tighten and were profoundly shocked. This inherent reverence was deeply rooted in their souls for those at the martial king and nascent soul levels. Magic Avatar, Thousand Mountains. The nascent soul cultivator who was blocking Lin Fei also unleashed his Taoist body. Countless spiritual energies converged, gradually forming a colossal magic avatar that spanned tens of thousands of meters. The magic avatar, resembling countless overlapping mountains, exuded an aura of authority and heaviness. It was not a common magic avatar. However, Lin Fei was not an ordinary martial ki neither. Strike. Lin Fei slashed with his saber. The strike resembled the descent of the heavens. Within this saber strike, there were hints of flames burning, the triple in true fire. Lin Fei also invoked his triple in true fire bloodline. However, the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline was not very prominent. The opposing nascent soul's magic avatar struck back with a palm. This palm strike seemed as if countless mountains were descending, also possessing a terrifying power that could shake the heavens and earth. Bang! The aura from Lin Fei's saber clashed violently with the palm of the opposing magic avatar. In an instant, Lin Fei's saber energy slashed into the palm of the opposing nascent soul's magic avatar, but only slightly. Then, the saber aura shattered instantly, completely annihilated. After the confrontation, Lin Fei didn't seem to have gained any upper hand. The opponent's strength was almost on par with his when using the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline. Although his saber had managed to cut into the nascent soul's magic avatar, it could recover in the blink of an eye. However, within Lin Fei's saber strike, there wasn't just the saber aura but also the triple in true fire. This fire was silent and inconspicuous, concealed within the saber aura. It rode on Lin Fei's saber energy, slashing onto the nascent soul's magic avatar and then infiltrating the slight wound, entering the body. But for now, the opponent seemed unaware. The nascent soul magic avatar hovered in the void, while the nascent soul cultivator stood calmly, saying, "Ancient origin Saber King, shall we call it a draw?" Although it seemed they were evenly matched, this was merely superficial. Lin Fei did not respond. He just stood there, coldly staring at his opponent. The nascent soul cultivator looked a bit uneasy. Why wasn't Lin Fei responding? Did he look down on him? After all, he was a dignified nascent soul great bane. It was only when a large amount of cold fire emerged from within his nascent soul's magic avatar that his expression changed drastically. The nascent soul's magic avatar had no perception, being just a magical manifestation. Even if the triple in true fire burned inside it, the nascent soul cultivator would remain oblivious. Damn it, extinguish! The nascent soul cultivator unleashed water-type spells, enveloping his nascent soul's magic avatar. But it was ineffective. After all, Lin Fei's triple in true fire wasn't just any ordinary flame. How could mere water extinguish it? Grandian Wind. Lin Fei continued to stimulate his Grandian Wind Dao bloodline. A chilling wind began to blow, directed at the nascent soul cultivator and his nascent soul's magic avatar. The Grandian wind intensified, causing the nascent soul cultivator's face to pale. He hastily summoned a magical treasure to shield himself. However, his nascent soul's magic avatar was directly swept by the Grandian wind and started to disintegrate. If it was just the Grandian wind, the magic avatar could quickly recover and the saber wouldn't be feared. But now, with the triple in true fire inside the nascent soul's magic avatar and the wind fueling the flames, the triple in true fire inside the nascent soul's magic avatar began to burn more fiercely. Within moments, the magic avatar was under the dual onslaught of the Grandian wind and triple in true fire. It might only be a matter of breaths before the nascent soul's magic avatar would turn to ash. Explode. Witnessing the scene, the nascent soul cultivator made a snap decision and immediately detonated his nascent soul magic avatar. Boom. The nascent soul magic avatar self-destructed, filling the sky with the terrifying triple in true fire and the Grandian wind. Lin Fei flicked a finger, and with a whoosh, a strand of Grandian true fire instantly flew into the body of a golden core cultivator. "Elder, save me." Fear was evident on the face of the golden core cultivator. However, it was to no avail. Under the might of the Grandian true fire, even the formidable nascent soul's magic avatar was on the verge of being burned to ash. How could a mere golden core cultivator withstand it? Within a few breaths, the golden core cultivator was turned to ashes by the Grandian true fire. At this moment, the Grandian wind and the triple in true fire in the void also disappeared. Although the nascent soul cultivator's magic avatar self-destructed, he managed to preserve a sliver of his vitality. He wasn't entirely reduced to ashes by the triple in true fire. However, he was severely weakened. To fully recover, he would probably need decades, if not longer. He would have to gradually gather resources and painstakingly repair his damaged state. For a moment, the nascent soul cultivator remained silent, his expression dark. While he still had other means at his disposal, such as magical treasures and the ability to set up formations, he couldn't see through Lin Fei. Had the ancient origin Saber King, Lin Fei, used all his capabilities? He had only utilized 3 bloodlines and yet almost obliterated the nascent soul's magic avatar. If a real life-and-death battle ensued, the outcome might not be different from what it is now. Especially now that his subordinate, the Golden Core Cultivator, had perished. Continuing the battle would be pointless. HMPH. The nascent soul cultivator refrained from making another move and returned to his sect's location. Lin Fei, on the other hand, had no real intention of killing this nascent soul cultivator. After all, there were so many nascent soul cultivators and martial kings present, making the environment surrounded by formidable foes. There was no need for him to reveal all his cards. Moreover, his earlier moves were sharp and dominant enough to deter other nascent soul cultivators and martial kings. Chapter 395. The Realm Opens. Is that the ancient origin Saber King? I think I remember him. I've indeed heard about the ancient origin Saber King recently. Did the ancient origin Saber King slay a martial king? That's right, it should be him. The ancient origin Saber King, Lin Fei, truly lives up to his reputation. That nascent soul expert just now is certainly not an ordinary one. He's likely in the mid-stage of nascent soul. Alas, he's still luster. Many seem to recall the prestige of the ancient origin Saber King at that moment. No one dared to provoke Lin Fei any longer. Lin Fei closed his eyes and began to meditate, quietly waiting. Days went by. Suddenly, not too far from Lin Fei, a vast portal appeared. Lin Fei's saber world flickered, instantly shifting the 11 martial sovereigns from the ancient origin sect away. Lin Fei saw the portal in the void, which was continuously expanding, with its depths appearing endless. The Tuyuan realm has opened. It's finally open. I wonder who will be the lucky one to obtain the treasures inside this time. There are countless opportunities in the realm. Once acquired, one might even achieve the nascent soul or martial king stage. This time, I will seize the greatest chance and achieve nascent soul. I am the greatest prodigy my sect has seen in a millennium. I will surely ascend to the martial king realm. Upon seeing the portal, everyone's eyes were fixed upon it. Many prodigies from the Taoist and martial worlds rubbed their hands in anticipation, preparing for the battles and opportunities that lay ahead in the mystic realm. They hoped to seize the best chances and benefits. Lin Fei watched the vast portal closely. To his knowledge, if a nascent soul cultivator or martial king tried to forcefully enter, they would face rejection from the entire realm, causing it to collapse completely. Hence, neither martial kings nor nascent soul cultivators would risk entering the realm. If anyone dared to do so, the many martial kings and nascent soul cultivators outside the realm would surely gang up on them. It's a rule that all great beings adhere to. Only martial sovereigns and golden core true persons were allowed to enter the realm, while martial kings and nascent souls would guard from outside. When sovereign, sect master, hurry up and enter. Remember, don't be afraid of causing trouble within the mystic realm. If anyone dares to attack, just kill them. Of course, if your strength isn't enough, prioritize survival. Everyone, make sure to come out alive. Lin Fei reminded the 11 martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect, follow the orders of the Supreme Elder. The 11 martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect, being closest to the entrance of the realm, were the first to enter. After them, a large number of golden core true persons and martial sovereigns eagerly entered the realm. About half an hour later, only martial kings and nascent soul cultivators remained outside, and the atmosphere was much quieter. Lin Fei glanced around and then took out a nascent soul magic treasure imbued with the power of thunder. The Tuyuan realm would be open for about 2 months. Lin Fei wouldn't just sit idly, he could cultivate. Especially since his Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline hadn't reached perfection and the cultivation speed had slowed down. It might take 1 or 2 months to perfect it. It was the perfect time to cultivate his Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline. Lin Fei reached out, and with a crackle, he drew out a cluster of thunder from the magic treasure. A system notification echoed in Lin Fei's mind, and the progress of his Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline cultivation began to increase. A few days later, the power of the thunder in the magic treasure was completely consumed. Lin Fei looked at the sky and then manifested his true martial kin form, invoking the Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline. The sky darkened with gathering storm clouds as Lin Fei used his bloodline power to slowly summon thunder. The more clouds gathered, the fiercer the thunder would be. This significant phenomenon naturally drew the attention of the newbie nascent souls and martial kings. Is that heavenly thunder? Why is there so much heavenly thunder being gathered? There aren't any fluctuations of spiritual power. It isn't a spell by a nascent soul expert. Could it be a martial king? To gather such thunder, it must be a bloodline with lightning attributes. It seems like it's the ancient origin Saber King. The ancient origin Saber King possesses a lightning attribute bloodline. For a moment, all eyes were on Lin Fei, wondering what he intended to do. Then, with a thunderous boom, a massive bolt of heavenly thunder descended, which was drawn in by Lin Fei's true martial kin form and channeled into the nascent soul magic treasure. While heavenly thunder was undoubtedly terrifying, Lin Fei, with his lightning attribute bloodline, wasn't afraid. He felt an affinity with the heavenly thunder and sensed no threat. Boom, boom, boom. Then, one after another, heavenly thunders descended. Dense thunder blanketed the sky, but Lin Fei stood tall, resembling a colossal thunder titan in the void, guiding the thunder's energy into the magic treasure. Is he gathering the power of thunder? Is it to cultivate his lightning attribute bloodline? Interesting. Using the lightning bloodline to draw heavenly thunder, and then using the thunder to cultivate the same bloodline. Isn't this a perfect cycle? Can one cultivate like this? Many martial kings were astonished. They knew that such cultivation was challenging. For instance, a martial king with a fire attribute bloodline, could they use fire to enhance their bloodline? Theoretically, yes, but it's extremely difficult unless their comprehension is unimaginably high. Lin Fei's method of using the heavenly thunder to cultivate his lightning attribute bloodline may seem straightforward but is an almost insurmountable challenge for other martial kings. Lin Fei drew enough thunder to almost fill the nascent soul magic treasure. It brimmed with tremendous energy. Lin Fei then dismissed his true martial kin form and began cultivating his bloodline using the thunder power inside the magic treasure. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Time flew by and nearly 2 months passed. After 2 months of dedicated cultivation, the progress of your Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline has finally reached 100%. Your Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline has broken through to perfection. Boom. Inside Lin Fei, the Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline transformed into a towering giant, emanating an overwhelmingly strong and pure thunderous aura, his martial kin true form, triggered after activating the Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline. I've finally achieved perfection. Lin Fei exclaimed in delight. System. Immediately, a system panel appeared before Lin Fei. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Realm, Middle Stage Martial King. Supreme Saber Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Grandian Wind Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Triple Yin True Fire Bloodline, Perfection. Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder Bloodline, Perfection. Saber World, Perfection. Lin Fei's Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline had reached perfection, making it the 4th bloodline to do so. He had achieved perfection in 4 of the 9 bloodlines. Just as Lin Fei was preparing to deeply comprehend the perfected Supreme Yuan Heavenly Thunder bloodline, a loud rumbling noise echoed throughout. The entrance to the Tuyuan realm trembled violently. What's happening? Lin Fei thought, a hint of alarm in his heart, as he swiftly turned his gaze to the entrance of the realm. Chapter 396. Contention. There was intense shaking at the entrance of the Tuyuan realm. Soon after, several figures flew out from within the realm. Time's up. The time in the Tuyuan realm had ended, prompting people to leave. The first to emerge was a golden core cultivator, his face pale as ash, looking terrified as if he had witnessed something horrifying. They are all dead. Only I escaped, and I didn't get anything. The golden core cultivator began to recount what had transpired within the realm. Although backed by a nascent soul master, he was still outmatched. Deaths inside the realm were commonplace. If you were defeated, it was merely because of your lack of skill. As more people emerged from the entrance, Lin Fei spotted the sect leader of the ancient origin sect and the Wind Sovereign among them. You're back. Upon observing the ancient origin sect leader, Lin Fei noted that his physical body seemed to have grown much stronger. Moreover, everyone seemed to have reaped some rewards and their gains appeared substantial. However, Lin Fei quickly counted and realized they were one person short. One person is missing. What happened? Lin Fei inquired. The ancient origin sect leader took a deep breath, not daring to conceal the truth, and reported, "Indeed, we are missing one, it's Sovereign Pang. We encountered a group of golden core cultivators. We clashed over a particular treasure. In the end, Sovereign Pang died. However, we managed to kill 14 of those golden core cultivators. Only 2 managed to escape." The ancient origin sect leader gritted his teeth. It was evident the battle had not been easy. Surprisingly, they had managed to slay so many golden core cultivators. No doubt, the ancient origin sect leader and his team were well prepared and possibly had other tactics up their sleeves. Lin Fei nodded and said, "In the realm, fate determines life and death. Sovereign Pang's death was due to his lack of skill, and no one else is to blame. It's good that the rest of you are alive. I hope this journey into the Tuyuan realm will be transformative for you. May the ancient origin sect gain another martial king in the future." Lin Fei didn't seem overly concerned. Deaths within such realms were typical. After all, whether it was a golden core cultivator or a martial sovereign, all vied for treasures. Clashes over disagreements were frequent. How could there be no casualties? What? All of them are dead. Only the 2 of you survived. Speak. Who did this? Who dared to kill the cultivator of our vast void immortal sect? At that moment, an enraged roar echoed through the vast void. Vast void immortal sect. Upon hearing the voice, the expressions of many nascent soul factions and martial king powers changed dramatically. This was a top-tier nascent soul sect. Currently, not only did the vast void immortal sect house the pinnacle of nascent souls, but they also had 5 powerful nascent souls. Furthermore, the vast void immortal sect had once produced a quasi-deity transformation expert. Many believed that it wouldn't be long before the sect would give birth to a true deity transformation cultivator. No one wanted to mess with such a top-tier nascent soul sect. Even within the Tuyuan realm, facing a disciple of the vast void immortal sect meant yielding when possible and retreating if necessary. Even though one could fight, most would not dare to deal a deadly blow. Currently, 16 from the vast void immortal sect had entered, but only 2 emerged. This meant that 14 golden core cultivators from the vast void immortal sect had been killed in the realm. This was a severe blow to the sect. The ones chosen to enter the Tuyuan realm were undoubtedly the best of the vast void immortal sect's golden core cultivators. These were top talents, highly likely to undergo nascent soul transformation. But now, 14 of them were gone, almost 90% of them. It was no wonder the nascent soul cultivators of the vast void immortal sect were so furious. Huh? It was them. The ancient origin sect leader's face changed slightly, and he whispered to Lin Fei, "Elder, those we killed were from their sect. But we didn't realize they were from the vast void immortal sect. We should leave quickly before they recognize us." The ancient origin sect leader communicated to Lin Fei using a secret method. They hadn't revealed their identities within the realm. Leaving now, the opponents wouldn't know it was them. Lin Fei frowned slightly but did not say much and prepared to leave with his group. Swoosh! In an instant, a terrifying nascent soul magic avatar appeared, blocking Lin Fei's path. The nascent soul cultivator from the vast void immortal sect fixed his gaze on Wind Sovereign and others beside Lin Fei. Evidently, the Wind Sovereign and his group had been recognized. So, the ancient origin sect. You kill so many golden core cultivators from our vast void immortal sect and think you can just walk away. The nascent soul cultivator from the vast void immortal sect had an incredibly dark expression. Even if he had met Lin Fei before and knew of the great name of the ancient origin Saber King, what of it? He was at the mid-phase of the nascent soul. He had even defeated a martial king with 5 bloodlines. He wasn't afraid of Lin Fei in the least. Moreover, whether it was the martial king faction or the nascent soul sect, the vast void immortal sect feared no one. Typically, their disciples always had the upper hand over other forces. When had the vast void immortal sect suffered such a loss? If he didn't seek justice now, even with his powerful status, upon his return, he might face disciplinary actions from the sect. At the least, 100-year grounding was possible. He didn't want to become the laughingstock of the vast void immortal sect. Facing the nascent soul magic avatar of the opponent, Lin Fei coldly remarked, struggles and killings within the Tuyuan realm are normal. Moreover, the ancient origin sect also lost a martial sovereign. HMPH, your ancient origin sect only lost one, while our vast void immortal sect lost 14. That just shows that your vast void immortal sect's golden core disciples are all show and no substance, less skilled than others. Lin Fei said dismissively. Well said, less skilled than others. It seems the ancient origin Saber King hasn't heard of my vast void immortal sect. Or perhaps the ancient origin Saber King feels that defeating a few nascent soul cultivators and killing some martial kings means he can act with impunity. Facing the nascent soul magic avatar, Lin Fei didn't respond. Speaking more wouldn't change the situation. The opposition clearly didn't want him to leave and didn't care about Lin Fei's reputation. But when his reputation couldn't deter others, the situation became simpler. In the vast ancient continent, power reigned supreme. Nothing trumped raw strength. In that case, let me cut you down. A sharp glint flashed in Lin Fei's eyes. Boom. In an instant, the 4 bloodlines within Lin Fei exploded with power: the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline, the Grandian Wind Dao bloodline, the Triple Yin True Fire bloodline, and the Supreme Yon Heavenly Thunder bloodline. And it wasn't over. Saber World. Suddenly, a layer of white light descended, enveloping both the vast void immortal sect's nascent soul cultivator and his magic avatar, completely sealing off the 2 worlds. The oppressive force of the Saber World pressed down heavily. What? Saber World. The expression of the nascent soul from the vast void immortal sect changed dramatically. Meanwhile, Lin Fei's vast true martial king form unleashed a mighty saber strike. Accompanied by raging winds, true fire, and a massive thunder trench, it descended with great momentum. 4 bloodlines in the Saber World, how is this possible? The nascent soul roared, his voice filled with shock and fear. Boom. Finally, the saber fell. The power of the 4 bloodlines overwhelmed the opponent's nascent soul magic avatar. Chapter 397. Killing nascent soul, shaking all directions. No. The nascent soul cultivator screamed. Immediately after, its nascent soul magic avatar, fragile as if made of paper, was split into 2 under Lin Fei's saber strike. Furthermore, both halves were engulfed in the real fire and thunder that accompanied the strike, turning instantly to ashes. Annihilated. Such a powerful nascent soul magic avatar had been obliterated before it could even demonstrate its might. Losing the nascent soul magic avatar meant the nascent soul cultivator had lost at least 1/3, if not 2/3, of his power. For a moment, the nascent soul's face was ashen and filled with despair. He didn't even try to escape because of the Saber World. He knew that under such circumstances, escape was impossible. You've destroyed my magic avatar. I'll remember this grudge. Once I've restored my magic avatar, I'll surely return for a rematch, the nascent soul cultivator said coldly. A hint of surprise flashed in Lin Fei's eyes. Was this man out of his mind? Had Lin Fei ever said he would let him go? Would there really be a next time? Slash. Without paying heed to the other's words, Lin Fei unleashed another sky-reaching saber strike, its might unparalleled and further enhanced by the power of the Saber World. Lightning and dark energy still shimmered on the saber. Do you dare kill me? Only now did the nascent soul from the vast void immortal sect seem to understand Lin Fei's intent. It was unimaginable to him. A lone martial king, with no backing, dared to kill him. And it wasn't a bluff, Lin Fei was genuinely intent on executing him. Especially now, within Lin Fei's Saber World, where even flames seemed out of reach. At this moment, true fear settled in. Even with the support of the vast void immortal sect, he was petrified. He had never imagined that someone would dare to publicly execute him. You can't kill me. I am one of the top 5 nascent soul cultivators of the vast void immortal sect. If you kill me, the vast void immortal sect will destroy your ancient origin sect. Even if you don't care about yourself, don't you care about the ancient origin sect? The nascent soul, in his panic, cried out. Is that so? Lin Fei responded coldly. If the vast void immortal sect dares to come to the ancient origin sect, I will slay them all. For now, I'll send you on your way. With an icy gaze, Lin Fei's saber decisively descended. With a swoosh, Lin Fei's saber, infused with the trickle-in true fire and accompanied by heavenly thunder, descended on the nascent soul cultivator. The nascent soul cultivator let out a pained cry. Under the oppression of the saber world and the power of multiple blood veins, even the mighty nascent soul, protected by his magic treasures, was utterly defeated by Lin Fei's strike. The entire void went silent. Everyone present seemed in disbelief at the scene before them. The nascent soul cultivator from the vast void immortal sect had fallen right before their eyes. Such a significant event felt surreal. The vast void immortal sect was a massive entity in the nascent soul realm, and no one dared to provoke it. After all, with 5 prominent nascent souls guarding it, who would dare? But now, Lin Fei had slain one of the vast void immortal sect's nascent souls. Once this news reached the vast void immortal sect, they would surely annihilate the ancient origin sect in their fury. We need to leave, and fast. We shouldn't get involved in this mess. The ancient origin Saber King has gone mad. Doesn't he know the strength and position of the vast void immortal sect? After publicly executing a nascent soul cultivator from the vast void immortal sect, they won't let this go. Unless something unexpected happens, not only will Lin Fei die, but the entire ancient origin sect will be destroyed. We should leave before the vast void immortal sect misunderstands. In an instant, many from the nascent soul realm or martial kin factions began to prepare for their departure. They did not want to get caught up in this turmoil. The vast void immortal sect still had 2 golden core true persons present. Both were in shock, seemingly unable to believe what they had just witnessed. If a nascent soul cultivator could be slain, what chance did they have? Run. Without hesitation, the 2 golden core true persons attempted to flee. Lin Fei's eyes turned cold. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 streams of trickle-in true fire shot toward them. Having already slain a nascent soul cultivator from the vast void immortal sect, Lin Fei didn't hesitate to also target these 2 golden core true persons. The golden core true persons screamed in agony as they were turned to ash by the trickle-in true fire. Elder Lin, this the sect master of the ancient origin sect, and others were also in shock. They had never imagined Lin Fei could do such a thing. The ancient origin sect was now in great trouble. Return to the sect, Lin Fei declared. As for dealing with the vast void immortal sect, leave it to me. I have my ways. Seeing Lin Fei's confidence, even if they had doubts, the members of the ancient origin sect chose to trust him. Let's go. With that, Lin Fei gathered the members of the ancient origin sect and transformed into a streak of light, swiftly leaving the secret realm. Lin Fei returned to the ancient origin sect. Upon his arrival, the sect master of ancient origin immediately issued a decree. Many of the sect's disciples were dispersed, particularly the core disciples, many of whom left the ancient origin sect altogether. Such preparations were made with foresight. Should the ancient origin sect ever be destroyed, these seeds might hold the potential for its eventual revival. However, the thought of rebuilding never crossed Lin Fei's mind. His primary concern was the looming threat of the vast void immortal sect. According to his investigations, this formidable faction boasted 5 mighty nascent soul great banes. Having vanquished 1, only 4 remained. Yet, among these 4, there lurked a nascent soul of unparalleled power. Lin Fei knew better than to underestimate such a force. An elite nascent soul was no trifling matter. I must cultivate the 5th bloodline as swiftly as possible, he mused. With that, combined with the power of the saber world, I'd stand fearless even against the mightiest nascent soul. In fact, it remains to be seen whether such a nascent soul could even best me in battle. Such was the source of Lin Fei's unwavering confidence against the vast void immortal sect. The saber world, coupled with his 5 martial king bloodlines, made him a match for the most eminent of powers. Moreover, Lin Fei's bloodlines were no ordinary ones. He treaded the Tao of Yin and Yang, the 4 symbols and the 5 elements, embodying almost all the fundamental elements of the world. The more bloodlines he possessed, the greater their synergistic explosion of power upon activation. Lin Fei had already acquired the bloodlines of Yin and Yang. So, which bloodline would be his next acquisition? Given the circumstances, his choice must be one that could immediately bolster his strength and combat prowess. Among the 4 symbols, he still lacked earth and water, while from the 5 elements, only wood, water, and earth remained. So only 3 elemental bloodlines remained available for his cultivation. Chapter 398. Vast Void Immortal Sect's Action. Water is ice. Water elemental bloodline can also be the ice elemental bloodline. Ice often symbolizes freezing, distraction, and deathly stillness. With a flicker of thought, Lin Fei discerned which bloodline he should cultivate next, the ice elemental bloodline. Currently, Lin Fei lacked a means to broadly control and constrain adversaries. The ice elemental bloodline, without a doubt, could offer such a capability. Once he managed to restrict an opponent, the full force of his Supreme Saber Dao bloodline, the Grandian Wind Dao bloodline, Tripoli and True Fire bloodline, and more could envelop and assail them. Given the current potency of his bloodlines, few martial kings or nascent souls could withstand their assault. Thus, the ice elemental bloodline was crucial for Lin Fei. He particularly valued its freezing capability. Hence, if he were to cultivate the ice elemental bloodline, it needed to possess a formidable freezing power. Lin Fei promptly entered the Dubhe Dao artifact to meticulously select. Within the artifact lay a myriad of bloodline techniques, including numerous ones related to the ice element. Even within the realm of ice bloodlines, many had distinct specialties. For instance, some excelled in freezing life forces, capable of killing nascent souls or martial kings. Yet, such bloodlines often had unsatisfactory freezing capabilities. What Lin Fei sought was a constraint. Therefore, the freezing ability of his chosen bloodline had to be exceptionally potent. With this criterion in mind, he discovered the Annihilation Frost bloodline. Once unleashed, it could freeze everything in its vicinity. Any force frozen by it would plunge into silence. Whether it be freezing spiritual chi, making the spiritual chi fall silent, or freezing a magical treasure, causing the treasure to become dormant, and even freezing array formations, forcing them into stillness. It was an incredibly fearsome bloodline. Lin Fei had long understood that there were significant distinctions among martial kin bloodlines. Without a doubt, the Annihilation Frost bloodline was among the most elite. Of course, this didn't mean the Annihilation Frost bloodline was invincible. Firstly, its offensive capabilities were relatively weak, making it challenging to slay adversaries. Moreover, it merely froze. If an opponent's power was formidable, for instance, if their spiritual chi was robust, they could resist the freezing. Hence, the Annihilation Frost bloodline was never a standalone lineage but served as a supplementary one. Yet, Lin Fei currently required such a supplementary bloodline. You're the one, Annihilation Frost bloodline. In the very next moment, Lin Fei manifested his true martial kin form. 4 peak bloodlines encircled him, their overwhelming might pressing down upon the Annihilation Frost bloodline. Annihilation Frost bloodline, become part of my lineage. Whoosh! The Annihilation Frost bloodline, showing its own form of intelligence, didn't futilely resist. It swiftly merged into Lin Fei's body. Instantly, memory surfaced in Lin Fei's mind, and concurrently, a new bloodline was birthed within him. It was the 5th bloodline, the Annihilation Frost bloodline. Swish! Lin Fei opened his eyes and once again entered the Dubhe Dao artifact, this time the chamber of the martial sovereign level, to select a divine ability to integrate into the Annihilation Frost bloodline. The newly cultivated Annihilation Frost bloodline was merely at its inception, with its cultivation progress being only 1%. This showed that the various accumulations of Lin Fei's previous cultivations weren't of much help to this bloodline. Thus, mastering the Annihilation Frost bloodline wasn't going to be easy. Lin Fei even thought that some ice elemental divine abilities probably wouldn't significantly enhance the Annihilation Frost bloodline. It was not just about freezing, it carried the aspect of annihilation and the characteristic of constraining other forces. Within the Dubhe Dao artifact, there were many ice elemental divine abilities. Lin Fei counted roughly 20. So, he integrated all of them into the Annihilation Frost bloodline, a total of 23 ice elemental divine abilities. What was the result? System. Lin Fei summoned the system panel to inspect his martial arts progress. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Realm, Mid-Martial King. Supreme Saber Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Grandian Wind Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Triple Yin True Fire Bloodline, Perfection. Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder Bloodline, Perfection. Annihilation Frost Bloodline, Beginner, 71%. Saber World, Perfection. The cultivation progress of Lin Fei's Annihilation Frost Bloodline had only increased by about 70%. It was still in its beginner stage, not having broken through to mastery. This realization weighed heavily on Lin Fei's heart. Previously, any bloodline, once integrated with 23 divine abilities, would surely advance from beginner to mastery. But now, even after merging with 23 as elemental divine abilities, the Annihilation Frost bloodline remained at the beginner stage. Lin Fei pondered deeply. It seems the Annihilation Frost bloodline is hard to cultivate. Even if it requires ice elemental divine abilities, it would probably need a vast number of them. At least 100, if not several hundred. Lin Fei had never imagined that cultivating a bloodline would necessitate integrating such a vast number of divine abilities. Such a horrifying quantity of divine abilities surely wouldn't be found within the Dubhe Dao artifact. Even martial families of the king's lineage, like the Shao clan, couldn't possibly have this many ice elemental divine abilities. He would have to resort to trading in the martial god space. With this in mind, Lin Fei left the chamber. With a thought, he ventured into the martial god space. In the grand hall of the vast void immortal sect, the atmosphere was palpably tense. The four nascent soul great beings sat elevated upon the main throne, flanked by various golden core elders on either side of the spacious throne. As for our journey to the Tuyuan secret realm, a voice echoed, we were utterly defeated. Has every detail of the news been verified? From the elevated throne, the serene voice of the vast void immortal sect's master inquired. The news has been thoroughly verified, Master, a response came. The ancient origin Saber King, Lin Fei, of the ancient origin sect, outside the vast void immortal sect realm, slew our nascent soul elders and every remaining golden core true person. In addition, the voice continued, inside the secret realm, our golden core true persons fell at the hands of the martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect. Our total loss in the Tuyuan realm is tied to the ancient origin sect. Currently, the ancient origin Saber King has returned to their sect. The golden core true person fell silent after conveying the news. The great conflict between the nascent souls and the martial king weighed heavily on the minds of those present. The next course of action was for the four great nascent souls to decide. The nascent soul elders of our vast void immortal sect cannot die in vain, declared the sect master with a firm voice. Those who dare offend our sect shall be shown no mercy. I hereby decree, activate the Great Mountain Protective Formation and guard the entrance. All four nascent soul cultivators of the vast void immortal sect shall set forth and eradicate the ancient origin sect to assert our unyielding authority. The sect master of the vast void immortal sect resolved. We obey the sect master's decree, was the unanimous response. In the next moment, the four great nascent souls rose swiftly. With a whoosh, they transformed into beams of radiant light, departing from the sect.